programme called the Whatever Project, which now is only available to Green Square tenants. We work with ages from 16 to 25, but we also do run another project called the What Now, which is for the 25s and above. The project is work experience programme, which is designed and tailored to meet a learner's need. So I will meet a learner and I'll go through what they're interested in and I will find them a placement. Throughout the 13 weeks, the learner will gain hands-on experience, learn new skills and find out what life is like in a workplace. It builds their confidence, self-esteem and the skills they will learn will stand by them for the future. We have many partnerships with different organisations, services and companies throughout Wiltshire. We have partners who send me referrals such as Connections, the Job Centre, Youth Offending Service and other teams within Green Square. We also sign our learners up to training providers such as First for Skills, who work with our 16 to 18-year-olds. Here they will do foundation learning, they'll do CV writing, search for jobs as well. We're in the process at the minute of trying to work with a training provider for our over 18s, because these are the people that will also help them either once a week or twice a week. They'll go see them, work on their CVs, help with job applications, work on things like interview techniques, which a lot of them do struggle with. Once a month, we also have our life skills session, which Can Do deliver for us. They'll explain a bit more about it. Through this, they do team building, confidence building, and even cooking. The best thing about Can Do is the learners don't even realise what they are learning while they're there, because they do it in a unique way, as we put it. We have seen huge benefits from these sessions, and it will give the learners the tool they need to help them get back into employment, education and training. We make sure all of our learners get all the support they need. So throughout the time with them, I'm in constant contact with themselves, with the company if they're on placement, with their training provider. I've always got my mobile on and believe they do text often with random questions sometimes. I do 6-week review meetings with them, also exit interview meetings. Every little bit of information I have on them from the employer I keep. So when they do apply for jobs, we could be used for a reference as well. The project has been a huge success, and this is shown from our results. Last year we had 59 referrals, 35 participated, 4 young people were offered, went back into employment or training before even starting the project, 6 young people went back into education or training or were actually offered employment. This year, since April, I've had 20 referrals, 15 of those people have participated in the project. I have 7 people on placement at the moment, I have 4 waiting placement, 7 have completed, 2 have actually been offered full-time employment and 2 have actually gone back into training. The one thing about this project is we are constantly looking for companies to help us find placements. Every day I'm meeting new young people with different ways they want to go back in and different things they want to do, all the way from childcare to working in kennels. So please, the one thing I do ask is if you do know of any placements available, please let us know. We have a lot of work still to do as we are still finding the hard to reach areas. We only work with Green Square tenants and even they are unaware of what the work we are doing. So we still have a long way to go, but we're slowly getting there. Thank you very much.
Right, so there's lots of people in this room like Vicky. Well done, Vicky, you did really well. And you actually used 5,000 words in 25 seconds, which is a record. Dave's told me I've got to do this really quickly, so I'm going to speak in Swahili, and I want you to have it translated back to you at a later date. And phone me so I know you know what I was talking about. But before we start, let's start with a nice Mexican way, people. You know you want it. Up to 3, get out of here. You're not going to do it, are you? Thank you for your participation and goodbye. The reason why the work we do works is not necessarily because of us or me looking like some other celebrities, although that helps when we're working with the police. But we do work with the police. These gentlemen across here are 3 of our fantastic examples. The schools, the sports development people, particularly with the social services. Now you might say, why do we particularly work with the social services? Does anyone want to say that? Pretend we've actually brought that question and say it now. Why do we work with social services? Well, what do you think? Work out yourself. It's not rocket science, is it? Hey, come on. We have to work with all the different areas and boards and all these different people and the companies and all the different schools and elements of it to best identify the needs of the individual, as opposed to doing what has gone on for many years, where people are given not tailor-made programs for their needs, but those generic ones where you just have these projects that come about every now and again, and there's a whole sort of wad of funding, and they last for 3 years, and then those young people, or the people beyond them, have no continuity and consistency. So we've been here for 14 years, building up these really significant relationships. You're all in the room. This really isn't rocket science, thank God, because obviously they wouldn't call me in, would they? Say, anyone's going to talk about rocket science. I'd say, all right then, because you know I'd improvise, and it might sound something like this. However, the most important bit about what we do is the people that we work with, and being able to look and identify those individual needs, and also, in a lot of cases, the needs of their wider family, or in a lot of cases, their foster parents, if they haven't got a normal biological family background. So really taking the human being for who they are and what they really have and where they're at, and doing an assessment with them, not just about their CV. Obviously that will come eventually, and that's really, really important. However, if we don't start to investigate why they're in that situation in the first place, or why they haven't been able to make success, because let's face it, we live in Wiltshire, which is one of the most successful counties in the country. We work in Salford, London, Grimsby, and all these other places. They're really, really up against it. And yet they come up with really innovative projects as well to get through. We're all capable of doing that, but without a doubt, we're not capable of doing that on our own or in our separate departments or competing with each other for funding. We have limited funding like we've never had before. If we don't all work together and find out all the bits of the projects that have been working for 10 years, 14 years, some of them, with the great professionals inside the county council. I'm very proud to go up and down the country and talk about what particularly Wiltshire Social Services do, what the WASBERG team do, what sports development do, what the PCSO relationship we have. And some of the rumours you've heard have nothing to do with me, that was all to do with Will, and he was on his own at the time. So, even though it's a massive challenge, even though now again it's come around the NEET, they've been there all the time. I remember back 5 years ago, Panorama contacted us because they wanted to do a programme, help us do a programme on needs. We refused to do it because there's like many parachuted in sort of provision, they would be there for 2 weeks or so, just picking over the scabs with desolated lives. Put it on television for half an hour and then it would be gone again. Meanwhile, these people in the community would be highlighted for being what? Feckless. Is that a word you can use in public these days? Feckless. It is, isn't it? Feckless isn't rude. Someone look at me and say, it's not rude, it's fine. Feckless. It's feckless. Someone tell me what feckless means. Don't look at me like that. You know, I have said something rude. You don't know what feckless means? Okay, we'll just hold it. Right, so, all these different departments, all these different individuals with the schools and everything else, identifying, and way before they get to the stage where their needs, the inclusion programs and everything else that's needed to be worked upon, you have to work with the primary schools, the secondary schools, the youth offending teams, the youth service, all the social services. They have to be at the centre of everything because, as you know, statistically, young people that go through the care system end up filling all those different categories which you'd never want your own children to fulfil. Is there anything I've missed out? There's loads I've missed out. You know what? You can phone me. I'll be round the corner. I'll be in an ice cream parlour. You can still phone me. I'll be there. Any questions before I leave? Is that 2 minutes? Is it way over? I'm going. Listen, it's been great. Alex, Kelman, thank you for lunch. Thank you, Julia, and well done everyone for turning up. That's the first start. Thank you.